What's up, fellow StarCraft fans? Today we're going to be casting Rush versus Action. Rush, one of the best Terrans on the planet right now, going up against one of the best macro Zergs on the planet in Action. So let's just get right into it. Our first map is going to be Circuit Breaker, and I'm so excited for this series because I was actually looking up the statistics of these players. Did you know that these two players have played almost 250 sponsored games versus each other in 2019. Rush is barely ahead overall. It's something like a 53% win rate. So this is going to be a really sick series because when I think of Rush, I really think of strong Terran versus Terran versus Protoss. I didn't know his Terran versus Zerg was this good. And when I think of Action, I think of somebody that can macro like an absolute god. There's a game that I saw on the Reverse Fighting Spirit map against Flash, and he looked immaculate. It's a few months old, so you'll have to go search and find it, but this guy, very, very top tier Zerg. Now it looks like we have some shenanigans coming out from Rush so far. It is Circuit Breaker's top left for Rush. We do have Action bottom left as the Zerg. Now if you don't know who Rush is, Rush was a former CJ Entis probe. I think when Brood War ended in around the 2012 time, he was kind of like on the brink of actually becoming like a big name for the A team of CJ Entis. And Action, kind of the same deal. He was on Eastro for a long time, moved to KTF or KT Rolster, and I think he was also on the brink of like making the big time for KT. So both these players were big up and comers. Very interested to see how they perform against each other. Surprisingly, it seems like they are very even. Now we do have Rush with proxy 8 racks, and already he's going to put the aggression on in this best of 3 series. And we do have Action going for a standard 12 hatch. Now the big question here is, how many drones does he build after this hatchery goes down? Is it going to be a drone? It is not going to be any additional drones, so Action is going to be playing completely safe. This is going to be about as good of an opener as you can possibly get when going for 12 hatch. Now behind this, we've got actually a very quick gas. Usually with 8 racks, you're going for something like a 13 gas, at least in TVT. Now because I don't 8 racks that often Terran versus Zerg, I don't know if this is Terran versus Zerg specific, or this is just Rush getting a little more aggro than Action's expecting. Now Action, he's not going to scout the center, he is going to scout horizontally, and this Overlord did not see an SCV move out, so he really has no clue that this is coming. We don't see a drone pull just yet. We don't see any reaction from him at all. Ooh, does he miss? I think he just missed the bunker. Oh, he does see the bunker. Okay, luckily he sees the bunker. Instant drone pull. Now when you face an 8 racks like this, you need to pull a majority of your drones. I love his positioning of this Overlord, allow him to drill here. And you can see him drill, almost catches a few of these Marines, but he is getting a few drones targeted down from Rush. Really good control so far, but he is kind of cornered. How many drones went down? Like 5 drones for 2 Marines so far, 3 Marines. He's maybe even gonna get another drone. Oh my god, that's so many drone kills. But he does wipe out all of the Marines. Now I remember Scan talking about how many drones do you have to kill with an 8 Rex. Now I could be wrong, but I think he said something like 3. You're feeling pretty good to trade your Marines for 3 drones. But we got like 6 drones. So Terran is in a fantastic position, and his factory is already about 80% of the way done. Action now, someone who likes to go for 3 hatch, is kind of obligated to go into 2 hatch now. No way he could support going for a 3rd hatch. Everything would be so delayed. And because he didn't send this Overlord in to the main, he really doesn't even know, is this tech? Is this a command center? Is this possible some type of weird 2 racks follow-up? What is this? But smartly, he is putting up a sunken colony in response. Vulture really should not deal any damage. I guess by now, since there's no command center, he's decided that, hey, this should have been up by now if you were going for gasless expand. So he is going to be pretty safe. Now we are starting to mine gas. What does it go into? We've got enough for speed just now. It is going to be the lair. Now, what does he want to transition to? Because by now, he probably assumes that this was a factory build. Does he play it like it's 1-1-1, or does he expect it to be the Goliath build that we've been seeing for the past few months? And I've talked about how I really think 111 is going to make a resurgence simply because of how well Zergs have gotten at defending the Goliath timing. Also, going for Hydras is not the comp you want versus 111. You get out a lot of tanks, you get out the vessels, everything that a 111 gives you counters the unit comp that the Zerg goes for. Now we do see a starport follow-up, but he is getting speed, so this is most likely going to be a drop. Doesn't have to be necessarily. Could also be for a Wraith. Let's see if he does get the add-on. Okay, nope, it is just going to be straight into Wraith, and he is just going to get a little bit of map control with the Vultures. I am a little bit surprised that he's going for speed, but I guess he anticipates some type of speed link follow-up, or he wants to save a few Vultures and try and run them into the natural. Now behind this, what is Action going to go for? He is going to opt into the Spire. We are not going to have a Lurker follow-up, and we're not going to have speed coming in for Overlords and go for a potential Hydra bust. So everything so far looks really good for Rush. He's already got his starport done. You know Terran's feeling confident when they're taking gas this freely. And he's up 8 workers. So we're going to see the science facility coming in pretty soon. There it is. And we're just going to have to wait for him to get up that sick Marine tank army combined with 4 vessels or so. And probably Action is going to have a hard time stopping this because our econ is so devastated. Now the Spire is about 50% done. Wraith does come in, does scout and see exactly what's going on. Now because the Spire is so delayed, he may think that potentially there's a 3rd hatch on the map, but I think he should know that he killed so many drones that this is just Action pretty much all in at this point. Lings coming out, speed kicking in for the Vultures just in time. Not going to get surrounded by these Lings, but that's a lot of Lings to build, and Rush does need to respect the potential for a counterattack. We see in response instant bunker. Add-on is done for the starport. Science facility is done. So we're going to be starting to pump out those crucial vessels pretty soon. He's got his eBay coming in. Everything is lining up for that pretty much standard 4 or 5 racks follow-up with the 111. Get the tanks, and then just go for some type of killer bust, essentially. And I just don't see how Action stops it. We have no econ. And for me, if you're going to stop 111, it's got to be either I'm getting extremely fast mutas going for very micro-intensive muta play trying to devastate the mineral line, or I'm getting a sick econ with 3-4 hatch, potentially at even just the mineral only would have been nice. But we have none of that. We have 2 hatches. We can't even produce units even if we had the econ because we just flat out don't have enough larvae. Now Lings do catch a few of these Vultures, but the bunker's full. And honestly, I think this is enough to hold this off. But really good Vulture control, actually getting a few more Ling kills than I expected. And he does manage to save 1. And we just don't have the units to actually damage Rush. Sure, mutas are out, but turrets are in a nice spot. I love putting a turret right here. And if he gets that up, really, we're just going to have so much anti-air. Look how many turrets he has at the natural. There's no chance of mutas dealing any damage. And remember, Science Facility has been done. In fact, one of the vessels is already out, almost has energy for Irradiate, really just waiting for it to complete. And Action at this point, he's completely all in. We haven't rebuilt any drones at the natural. We don't have a 3rd hatch anywhere. We don't have any upgrades coming in for the Hydras. We don't have any evolution chamber upgrades coming in. We don't even have Spire upgrades coming in. So this is just going to be pure mutiling, trying to stop 111 with mass vessels, mass tanks, mass bio. And I'm just not seeing it. There's almost 0 chance of Action actually stopping this army. Now the vessel does find the Mutaclump. Great Irradiate. That's a pretty good split, taking minimal losses. Here come those mutas, going to try and jump on this turret. Great movement on the SCV to repair it as fast as possible. It may, ooh, the SCV's bugging out just a little bit. This is what Action needs because these Marines don't have any upgrades just yet. Another vessel is here, almost has enough energy. Cannot lose that vessel. Oh, almost gets an Irradiate off, but he's not able to. And now the mutas actually are dealing a decent amount of damage. Only 7 left, but this is enough to one-shot an SCV. So an attack that I really thought was not going to do anything actually is getting a lot done. If we look how many SCVs are in the mineral line, there's only like a handful left over. But again, Action is very all in with it. Still no drones at the natural. We're still building Lings and mutas. But he at least did get rid of one of the vessels. I hear a tank go off, but really that's not going to help him. He doesn't have any more barracks coming up. Is there an academy anywhere? I don't even see an academy. So we're not going to have stim. We're not going to have range. And all of a sudden, Action, who I thought was dead in the water, actually has a real chance of recovering because of how delayed everything is. Now, he does have to be careful to not lose these mutas to that vessel right there, that bad boy waiting and lurking. But here he comes. That's a lot of lings, a lot of mutas, but that's a lot of turrets, and that's a lot of damage in one irradiate. Not the greatest splits, but we're running out of defense from Rush, really. All the turrets going down. There's only a handful of Marines left over, but Action, I guess, has decided that the mutas are a little bit too bruised. He's going to turn around for now. Vulture's dealing a little bit more damage than they should, but we may actually be able to get a killing blow in here. Tank is going to go down. Turrets are going down left and right. Look at the SCV count. It's not exactly where you want it to be, but another devastating irradiate. Great splitting again. Limits his losses. But we still don't even have a second barracks completed. We still don't have an academy. I don't see it anywhere. Am I missing it? Rush, my man, we gotta get an academy. Like, Marines just flat out are not very good if they have no stim, and definitely if they don't have any range. But for now, he is holding on with just these few vessels. But I'm afraid that if some more Lings come out, look at our ground army. We don't have any ground army. Lings could just ransack this base. Meanwhile, mutas don't care about 4 turrets. They just pounce on it. First turret goes down. Second, third turret going to go down. This is 12 mutas. This is a lot of damage. I think Action actually did it. He finds isolated vessels too, and if these goes down, we have no defense for the mutas at this point. A lifted command center. I thought for sure this could never happen, but Action, he's forced a liftoff. The SCV count is 24 to 17. I'm still looking for that academy. It just now starts. Our upgrades so late. And really, I think that is kind of what did Rush in. If he had either stim or range, he could have stemmed his army down here and at least defended it. Sure, he would have taken losses to the SCV line, but he could have held the natural. Meanwhile, another great irradiate. Not the greatest split this time, though. That's a lot of damage. And these mutas all of a sudden are down to 6. Honestly, a few of these can get taken out very quickly in just a few Marine shots. But with the natural lifted and all these SCVs kind of clumped at the bottom of the mineral line, our econ is still devastated. And you know Zerg is feeling good now because he's finally put in a round of drones. Still, it's only 21, but at least he has a little bit better econ. Third hatch going up. Evolution Chamber has come in, starting to get his armor upgrades. And Lurker upgrade coming in also. And this is another thing that I didn't even think about. If these vessels go down, look at our main and nat. It's floated. That means there's no comsat. A turret is even blocking the position of potential comsat. So these vessels are crucial that they do not die, not just for defending Mutalisk, but also for vision. Now we do have the first few Hydras out onto the map. It's actually a decent amount, 5. That's a lot of potential AoE damage. You're just going to come into the natural, wipe out the mineral line again. Another good irradiate, but that's on a weakened muta. Gets taken out pretty easily. Only 3 mutas remain, but I still think that Action, if he can just get a consolidated Ling Lurker army, will be able to take this game. We now almost have 8 Lurkers. We just need some Ling production, and there they are, coming out of all 3 hatcheries. We even got some Scourge mixed in. Muta's just trying to be annoying. And because we don't have scan, we don't actually know what Action is doing. Is Action still going Mutaling? What is the actual move? When these Lurkers come in, he's going to be so caught off guard. We're going to have no comsat. There's no bunker either. This might just be the killing move for Action. So here we go. This has got to be it. Oh. I'm waiting for some hold position burrow action on these Lurkers. Lurkers posturing around, trying to find the best angle to come. Oh, he's just going to sandwich them. They move out and they get sandwiched by Lurkers and Lings from both sides. I don't even know if he has stems. Okay, there's the stem. He tries to run, but his whole army evaporates. GG. So, wow. Rush with a really sick opener. Not able to take it versus Action. And he's going to actually fall down 0-1. I don't actually know how Action was able to survive. His econ was so shot and the mutas did so much damage, but nicely done from him. So now let's get into game 2. Our second map is going to be on Whiteout. And if you're feeling If you're Rush, you got to be feeling like we let that one slip away, because I don't think you could actually get a better build order win than what he had. Maybe he thought he built his academy and it just flat out never built. That happens sometimes as a Terran player. But regardless, he had a good opener until it just kind of just fell apart in the mid game when the mutas came out. So if I was him, I wouldn't be that discouraged. Kind of just feel like, okay, we let that one slip away. Let's kind of polish up our game for the next two, and we can definitely take this series. So we are into Whiteout, and this is a former ASL map. Let's take a look at the overall map. And what I like about Whiteout is that this section, the trees, this is completely dark. You cannot see anything on the low ground. So if we do see some more mutaplay from Action, which is most likely, he's going to have free reign over that area of the map. And we may actually see Rush kind of counteract this by going for more Goliath play, because even though they are going to have the same amount of sight, they're at least going to have more range than Marines. So once something does get vision of a muta, they'll be able to target it down from a distance. So let's see if that is actually the case. We do have Rush at mid left, Action at top right. I wonder if Action will go for 12 hatch again. I think it's pretty likely that he will. I don't expect to see an overpull, but we do see quite often these days overpull or 12 pull gas. But Action strikes me more of a macro type guy rather than an aggressive 2 hatch player. But what I'm most curious about is, what is Rush doing? Are we going to see the gas coming up pretty soon? So far, we just do have a standard Rax placement. If we are going to go for gas, I think he would have done it by now because he's got an SCV queued up. So everything so far, it looks like we're going to have just standard gasless expand. It's not going to be any mech play unless he's going to go for a fast command center followed up with delayed gas into mech, which is honestly kind of an awkward build. Really don't see it that often most of the time, or mostly because lurkers just flat out kill you. You have absolutely no idea what Zerg is doing. So any lurker opening just flat out destroys you. Now Action actually is surprisingly going for a fast 2 hatch play. We're not going to see 3 hatch this time. This was extremely fast gas, around 2 minutes or so. That's going to put Mutalisk at Rush's base around 6 minutes. So this is going to be pretty aggressive. But because the meta kind of leans towards this these days, you know that Rush is going to have a lot of practice versus this. But he's got to make sure to not forget his academy, because if we get the academy even just a few seconds late, it all of a sudden snowballs really quickly for the Zerg. And we know that players like Ample like to rush the academy, going for like a 325 academy, sometimes like an extremely fast academy. But I don't think Rush should really go for that. I'm not a big fan of that play exactly. I'm really a bigger fan of 4-minute academy, get a better econ. You still have potential to bust, but you're not all in. So we'll have to see what he wants to go for. What's this SCV up to? It looks like it's just going to be a depot. I was a bit worried that this was going to be gas. But Rush does come in, sees that the lair is morphing. And one thing that Zerg could do is take a drone from the natural and put down a Hydra Den. Now something I hate that Zerg always does is they build lings out of the nat. So even though you see lings or no lings coming out of the main sometimes, you think, okay, he's not ling all-inning me. But then because they constantly built lings at the natural, all of a sudden 4 lings is actually like 8, 10 lings. So seeing these lings pop out is going to be crucial. If he sees lings pop out here, I think he knows he's getting all in. But if it gets taken down, okay, he just barely saw it. Now, did he actually really see it? Because if he saw it, this needs to be a bunker. And that's exactly what we see. So this is perfect play from Rush so far. I do want to see what our academy timing is. The gas is coming up. It's done. This was about a 345 gas. This is my preferred gas timing. But where's the academy? We still need to get that academy up. But here come a ton of lings. Rush, actually, Action is just all inning here. This is just going to be Spire. Not going to be lurkers, but this is a lot of links. We may even actually have to pull some more SCVs to block here. But finally, the academy goes up. But this is honestly a little bit late, like a 420 academy. That's... I'm worried. I don't know if Stim will actually be done by the time mutas get across the map. And because of how many lings are just flat out being... Here we go. He's just going to go for it. Instant SCV pull. That's great for him. Great surface area on the bunker with the SCVs. And now the lings are going to turn around. And now Rush should know that, hey, I'm getting mass ling, mass muted. Well, I'm getting mass ling. I don't know necessarily if it's lurkers. Oh, he's just going to go running by again. What a move here. What a ballsy move. But actually, surprisingly, the lings don't get any damage done. And now Rush all of a sudden has 10 Marines. They don't have any upgrades just yet. But this is a lot of bio that can actually go counterattack across the map if he wants. But he's not going to. He still needs to be cautious that this could be Ling Lurker. But the thing about Ling Lurker is lurkers are not good without support. So if you're Rush, the chances of this being lurkers after we pretty much suicided all of our lings is almost zero. So he should know without even scanning that this has got to be mutas. And because of that, he is starting to build turrets. He's going to build turrets regardless, but he does scan. He doesn't see anything at the natural. He did see one muta pop out, so now he can confirm that it's mutas. But he sees how all in this is because we have no drones at the nat. This is super all in from Action. He either wins with this or he's just toast. We have no mid game at all. And that's going to be a lot of turrets coming up too. He's got 2 at the nat or 2 at the main, 2 at the racks, probably a lot at the natural too. Now this eBay honestly is kind of misplaced. It needs to be more here in a safer position. So this could be a point of contention for Action to try and pick off. But even if he picks it off, that's not delaying the tech of Rush. It's not delaying the barracks flood. It's not actually crippling the SCV line, which is what he needs to actually salvage this game. But it looks like he is going to focus on that eBay, and Rush is going to try and save it. He's going to save it for a while because 6 mutas is not the number. We need to get up to critical mass, the 11, so we can start 2-shotting turrets if we get +1 weapon, which is what he's doing. But meanwhile, factory is more than halfway done. This is an extremely fast factory. It's going to be completing around like 7:10 or so. That's going to give us like 10:30 vessels, something like that. So it's going to be really fast to radiate. But the big issue now is the bio ball hasn't gotten dwindled down. The SCV count hasn't gotten dwindled down. As I said, this eBay's an important upgrade, but we need more damage done than this. Just picking off +1 is not going to cut it. But so far, Action doing a good job to damage the eBay as much as possible. He hasn't lost any mutas just yet, but he hasn't killed any Marines. And if we look back to his main and natural, still really not mining essentially at the natural. So still all in. Factory's done. Starport's going up. All he has to do is not die. And as long as he just flat out doesn't die, Rush is in a prime position to just take this. I'd like to see one more racks come in case we get our bio ball kind of picked off somehow. Ooh, actually gonna go into an armory. Here come more mutas trying to jump on that turret, but that's a bit ambitious. There were 4 mutas there. Marines in perfect position to pick them off. Again, he really wants that eBay, but +1's about to finish. Marines are going to do a good job to pick it off. I feel like we should have more mutas at this point. I realize that he's lost a couple, but still 9 seems kind of low. So I'm kind of confused where all of his mutas are. I feel like we should have a little bit more at this point, but good pick off on the medic there. But now that +1's done, really, these mutas basically have done nothing. We're more than likely just going to lift off the eBay also at this point. But Starport done. Armory is basically done. We're going to actually have Valkyries come in. And once we reach 3 Valkyries, that's going to be critical mass onto these mutalisks, especially since there is no plus armor coming in. So really, the window of opportunity for Action to win this game is slowly closing. There's about maybe like a minute and a half where we can actually end it, and then the Valkyries are just going to reign supreme. Now the natural, really no opening here either. 5 turrets, nicely placed. SCVs waiting in position to repair. Nicely done from Rush. This is perfect defense. This is exactly what you should do, from stopping the lings, to stopping the secondary ling follow-up, to stopping the mutas. He knew that he just had to survive. He scanned, he saw exactly what the econ was, and here come the mutas. Now that they see the Valkyrie, yeah, what do you do now, dude? This is probably it. He is just going to suicide on it, and GG. So Rush is going to tie the series up 1-1, and it is going to come down to our final game, which is going to be on Sylphid. So let's get right into that. Really nicely done from Rush. After the first game, I was like, are we kind of just off today? But that was good defense overall. And now, if you're in Action shoes, what do you do? Because we got... Oh, I did not want to put it on... did not want to times for it. But if you're Action, what do you do? Because in the first game, Rush was aggro. Some players have the mindset that, oh, you want to cheese me? Well, I can cheese you back. And we just saw Action go for something like that. Now, I'm not saying Action has that mindset, but now that he lost being over aggro, if I was Rush in this position, I would actually like to see another 8 racks, because I think the chances of Action being aggro again is very low. So I want to see an 8 racks from Rush. I want to see him get in Action's face, or maybe something like a 10-10-10. I know that's kind of a weird build, or some type of aggro 1-1-1 play on one base into a later command center. So I have to see what he wants to go for. We don't see our forward racks, so I'm a little bit sad about that. And Action, what's he going for? We do have the Overlord coming in. Have to wait and see if he is going to put down an overpool. Is it going to be a 12 pool? It's going to be 12 hatching in. I'm so happy to see Sylphid on the ladder these days, because this is a map that I really like. And since I'm a ladder hero, I don't really get to play it in customs very often. I'm not really a big time custom game player. So I'm so happy to see Sylphid being used in the ladder, and of course seeing it here in this sponsored match. Now SCV moving out at 11 supply. Flash talks about scouting on 12 if you're going to go for a gas or a gas build. So the fact that this moved out on 11, you can already assume that this is going to be gasless. It's now to the point where it's got to be gasless because we're at 13 supply. But that's something to look for when watching replays, like when does the SCV scout? And because it was at 11, you can assume that it is probably just going to be a normal opener. Now meanwhile, Action is going for the same opener that we just saw on Whiteout. It is going to be 12 hatch into extremely fast 2-minute gas with the spawning pool. And we saw that the aggressive play really didn't work. And if we're going to be aggressive, this time I'd like to see Lurker follow up. We had so many Lings that Rush wasn't able to scout that if he had have hid them and just gone into Lurkers, I think Rush would have lost, because the bunker was not out in front. It was kind of near the command center. And when it's that close to the command center, the Lurkers can get in. Even if they don't kill the bunker, they can just start ranging SCVs. So I would like to see that from Rush, or from Action if he ends up going for an aggressive build. Now we do have the command center coming down. We do not have any delayed gas from Rush, so this is most likely just going to be standard 2 racks follow-up, which is what you always do versus 2 hatch play. Now the drone, can it block the entrance? If it does block the entrance, this is honestly a huge power move from Action, because Action does play 2 hatch, but he does play 3 hatch, and if you misread him, you're in deep trouble. Now the drone moves out for just a second, but the Lings do catch this SCV. But will he take it down? Rush doing his best to try and get it into the main, but the micro is a little bit too good. Meanwhile, in Rush's base, we actually have a 315 or so refinery. This is really fast, so that means that we're going to see an academy coming up. There it is, 338 academy. This is ample-esque. So this is going to be a quick game. This is going to be either Rush stimming to his death into Lings and Sunkens, or it's going to be Rush ending the game with that attack. One or the other. He's either just going to flat out lose all of his units in an instant, or he's going to demolish the Zerg. Now, does Action know about this? Can he read the scenario? It's so hard to gauge when the academy goes down. Really, there's nothing that really gives you a tell here that this is a fast academy. The marine count is going to be almost identical. You see a bunker coming down. Everything that Rush is doing is exactly what he did last game. Now back in the main of Action, this time there is going to be another Spire. It's not going to be a Hydrogen anywhere. He is taking a fast third base. This is going to give him fast third gas. This is something that players like Soma like to do a lot. And if this game does go late, the only question here is it going to be pure Muta, or are we going to transition into a normal game? Because sometimes you see Soma transition into 3 hatch constant Muta, nothing else other than Mutas. Sometimes you see fast Defiler. Sometimes you just see mass Lurkers. all types of variations with this third hatch. But the medics are already done. Stim is already halfway done. So we're going to be moving out. Scan went off. Now, if Action heard this scan and saw it, he should know that this is a very fast academy. Because normally, Comstat is finishing around 5:30. It's not, normally Comstat is starting at 5 minutes, not finishing at 5 minutes. But if Rush wants to win this game, I think he needs to move out. But he is actually turning around. And I think that our window of opportunity to get damage done is kind of down the drain. Even though this was so fast, the Spire timing seems like it would have stopped it potentially, unless he stemmed across the map, which it doesn't seem like he's thinking about doing. Now, the one good thing that Rush has going for him is that because his academy is so fast, he's going to have all of his key upgrades kicking in very soon. He's got range already halfway done. He already has stem. Any engagement with these mutas in the next 30 seconds are going to be fantastic for him because he's not going to be expecting range at all. But here come those Lings, trying to get a little bit of damage done. They may pick off a couple Marines here, but shouldn't get much else done. Meanwhile, mutas, they need to get in here and do something. There were some free pickings here on these Marines that are kind of already stemmed down a little bit. Not a lot of defense at the natural. Something that I hate about bottom left is if you build turrets right here, blocks your SCVs in here. But here come those mutas, and honestly, this is a hard position to stop muta play on. So Rush needs to be careful to not get his units bottled up in this area. Now back at the main, we did see +1 weapon coming in for the mutas. So this looks like this is just going to be pure muta play. The natural has been actually ransacked by these mutas. SCVs being forced to pull, and Rush is actually just going to counterattack. I don't know about this because this is going to be a lot of mutas. This isn't an overwhelming amount of Marines. It's about, 12 Marines and 3 mutas. Really, one group of mutas should be able to kill this. You just got to make sure to engage it properly. Wait for the mutas, for the Marines to get way far out, but that's a lot of damage to be taken onto his sole group of mutas. Now, going up this ramp is going to be a nightmare for Rush. I don't know what he really hopes of accomplishing going up this ramp because this is not the angle you want to attack from. So this base is amazing for Action. It's going to be so easy to defend. And Rush is really out in no man's land. He desperately needs to sync up his army, but because his racks count is so low, he can't even sync it up. So I think Action just needs to pounce on this. Do not let Rush turn around and get away. This is free units for him. And here he comes. Muta's going into the middle of the map. Marines are also there. But actually, Action has got other plans. He's just going to counterattack. There's really not a lot here, but still, a bunker is a lot harder to kill than Marines, basically, with no support. There's only 3 medics here. Looks like Action is just kind of trying to figure out the best angle to attack from. He's still got his eyes at the main. He's going to poke in on these turrets. That's going to be 1 turret down, 2nd and 3rd turret also going to go down. Now, this angle is abysmal for Rush. There's no way that he can actually save his base now. And with the main cut off from reinforcements, I think that Action should take this. All he has to make sure is not die to a counterattack, which he is already preparing for. 3 Sunkens there. Mutas are just devastating the main. He's not going to go for the 3rd base at all. He's just going to go for the natural. And this is just flat out not enough bio. He does have +1. He may be able to actually take down all the Sunkens, but with the Mutas coming back, he's going to be able to clean it up. The Marines, I just don't think they have enough. It's only 7 Marines versus 11 mutas. If we look back into the main of Rush, his SCV line is devastated. It's only 27. This bio ball gets picked off. I don't see any tech anywhere. Factory is actually done, so that's not bad from him, but I don't see starports anywhere, and that's really what he needs versus this mass muta play that we see from Action. There's no lurker follow-up, no Queen's Nest, no nothing. So really, if he had vessels at this point, he could actually salvage the game, but because we have no tech, +1 bio is good, but versus 1.5 groups of mutas? I don't know. Here comes Action. He's just, oh my gosh, getting so many splash kills onto these Marines. And unless we have 5 racks production here, there's just not enough Marines to replace, or not enough, it's not easy enough to replace these Marines that die. So this is most likely going to be it for Rush. He does tap out, GG. So Action is going to win our best of 3 series with some really, really nice muta control. I don't know how he recovered from game 1, but game 3 looked convincing. And actually, Rush, who was the favorite in this matchup just so slightly with the 53% win rate, he actually falls down. So that was a great series from both Rush and Action. And now we're actually going to go into a best of one. It is going to be Lomo versus, I think it is Noob. Yes, Lomo versus Noob. Now this is, again, another sponsored game. Not a best of three. It is just going to be best of one. And our map is going to be Overwatch. Now, if you do not know who Lomo is, he is a very old school Hwasong Oz Terran. He played in the glory days of Hwasong Oz with Killer, Jaedong, Bako, Haya, those types of players. He's a really good Terran, really, really good. I actually didn't know that he still played in Remastered. So it's really nice to see that he is back and playing. I think I looked up this account and it was like in the current season, like 2,400. And since the season just reset, that's obviously an extremely high rating. Now on the other side of the map, we do have Noob, and generally I think that this guy plays pretty standard, but we actually have a very fast probe moving out. Now this probe moved out so fast, well, not so fast, but pretty damn fast, but not fast enough to go for a proxy. Oh, actually might be going for a proxy. I actually thought that this might be a gas steal, but instead, he's just going to proxy at the natural. And on Overwatch, I find it so difficult to defend this specific position of proxy, because what they do is they put either a gateway here or a gateway here, and then they position the probe up here or near the gate. And when your SCVs get pulled to kill the gate, the probe drills onto a mineral line and disrupts the SCV attacking the gateway. It forces them to bounce off. So if Lomo wants to defend this, he needs to pull SCVs right now. Now Noob is hooking around the side, making it look like that this is going to be a gas steal, but we know that this is actually not a gas steal. It's just a fast gate. He is going to come in. He's acting like he wants to take it, but ooh, he actually does force Lomo to actually cut SCVs to get this gas. I really thought that the SCV saw the probe coming in, and since we were taking so long to actually build the gas, I thought, well, he must know that this is a proxy gate. But it seems like Lomo has no idea that this is a proxy gate because there's no SCV pull. Gateway is done. And at this point, there's not any amount of SCVs that you can pull to actually stop the gateway. Usually when I see a gateway, if it's around 200 health or something, you can actually pull about 5 SCVs. You can take it down, maybe 6 SCVs. But at this point, no chance of taking it down. Now this probe is being super annoying. It's already dealt a lot of damage, and if it can get one more hit, all of a sudden this SCV gets one-shotted by a Zealot. And here it comes. Marine has just started. This is already Artosis' nightmare. Zealot in your base. SCV is extremely low. We had to cut SCVs to get a gas. Already on top of the SCV line, one SCV going down. Great control with the Zealot and the probe, dealing a lot of damage to these SCVs. He's going to catch the Marine. No, he's not. Good micros so far. SCV does manage to take out the probe, and that's huge because the probe, even though it is a worker, does a lot of range damage. Now, if Lomo holds this, he's a hero to hold off 2 Zealots with 2 Marines. Really good Marine control right there. Amazing drill to force the Zealot back, and I love this SimCity, how you can just drill the SCVs on top of this mineral line and defend the Zealots. Another great drill. But one of the Zealots goes down, or one of the Marines go down. Another Marine goes down. But the SCV's getting a complete surround on that Zealot, actually taking minimal losses. Really good defense so far from Lomo. Now, third Zealot comes in. I don't think that he's really going to take that much damage at this point. The SCV control is fantastic, but despite having great SCV control, he still lost a decent amount of SCVs. If we look at the workers, it is 15 to 13. But the factory's almost done. And he really can just build a Vulture at this point. And if we look back at the main of Noob, because of how many Zealots he's building, there's no Goon just out yet. So the Vulture comes out, these Zealots should be able to get shut down, I think, pretty easily. Now the question is can this Vulture actually get out? Because if Noob sets up his Zealots right here on hold position, the Vulture's going to pop out on the wrong side. That's what he's doing. Instant lift. Vulture almost gets taken out. Really good from Noob. But now the factory kind of moved upwards, and he can't even build an add-on now because the depot blocks it. And that might be a big misstep there because the Goon's halfway out. We only have 2 Marines. Third is coming. Vulture's low. Sure, 1 Goon is not going to be able to kill this, but it's going to be able to put a lot of damage onto these units. He needs to repair this Vulture. The Vulture is within, I think, getting 3-shotted by this Dragoon. 1 shot, 2 shot. Looks like it's going to be 4 shot. No, you can't lose this Vulture, man. Oh, Vulture's so important, does a ton of damage to shields, also potential to lay mines, which is most likely what he's going to go for. But for now, Lomo has pushed it back. Second goon coming out. I'm so worried that this Vulture is going to die. And two goons versus this army. I think the goons should win. Now back in the main of Noob, what is he doing? I don't see any tech anywhere. He's got a lot of gas, so it looks like he may want on one base. Dragoon does come out, but he needs to sync up with the second Dragoon. He is trying to do that. And now that he's seen that it is 5 Marines and a Vulture, he's probably going to turn around. I don't think you can really damage this army at this point. This is a little bit too much DPS. Pylon goes down, and that's going to get rid of the third Dragoon potentially coming out. Tank coming out, and all of a sudden, it's 2 goons, one of them very low, versus a sizable FD push, which is what Lomo's going for. Mines are halfway done, another Vulture coming out. There's only one gate, and with this other gate basically nullified because it's unpowered, Noob is in trouble of just flat out losing here. He really doesn't have that many Dragoons. He needs to get out a 4th, which is the magic number to start one-shotting Marines and 2-shotting tanks and Vultures. Now this angle, I don't know about this. Lomo trying to stream across the bridge. Okay, smartly, he turns around. He's going to take the high ground and try and come in from a better angle. But this does give Noob a little bit of time to get out his 4th Dragoon that we see coming out. But I don't see any Robo anywhere. I don't see any tech at all. Citadel. What? He's going Citadel versus a guy that you know is going to be going mines, and he already saw that it was a lot of Marines. I think this is a bit of a misstep. Also, the Nexus is kind of mind-boggling too. Noob might flat out just lose right here. Good control on the goons. Picks off 1 Vulture. Ooh, he's going to probably get that second Vulture too, but the goons are cornered, and with 1 tank and a few Marines and a Vulture, he should be able to actually eliminate almost all the goons. A really good mine track right there, takes out a lot of Marines. But we have 1 goon left. We got a Marine still. We got Vultures set up at the natural. And even if he doesn't even get into the main now, he's definitely going to take out this Nexus. Vultures deal full damage to shields. Oh, can't lose that tank. 1 hit. Managed to survive. And now we have a Vulture running into the main. A full probe pull. Wow. Oh, okay. Good control right there. Just one-shots that Vulture. Get out of my base, son. Sit down. But the probes have got to do a little bit more work here, because 1 tank and 1 Vulture can kill infinite probes if they're microed correctly. And this is a lot of lost mining time for Noob. He does have quite a bit in his main still mining, but taking free probe losses almost, it seems. Now what is Noob doing? Because he's got a Citadel, he's got Templar Archive, he's going for a shuttle, still no observatory, so he's risking it all on a DT drop. Now this is some type of ultra mind game, because if you're Terran in this position, this is 99% of the time an observer coming out. So the chances of Lomo having an eBay is so tiny. And if we look back at his main, no eBay anywhere. Command center coming up, second factory coming up. More than likely, if he gets any type of vision, it's going to be an academy, which is going to take a long time to finish. And we're not going to have any, static defense with those turrets. So this might just be a flat-out blind counter from Noob. He didn't die to the tank Vulture attack, and now he's just going to go for a counter attack with the DT drop. Now the Vultures come in at the perfect time, sees the DT, instant eBay from Lobo. Exactly what he needs to do. Now I would like to see an armory and an academy also go up, because you want to take out that shuttle. It cannot live. Meanwhile, DT doing a little bit of work. Vultures do get into the main though. And every probe kill is going to be so critical, especially since we have no Nexus at the natural. Now, luckily for Noob, he is a little bit oversaturated, so these losses aren't huge. But if the game goes to a mid-game, every probe is going to matter when they're transferred. Oh, I heard a siege! Oh, very unfortunate attack right there. But still, these Vultures dealing so much damage. He's got 2 of them, so they one-shot the probes. And now we have a 5-worker lead for Lomo, who was down workers for the majority of the game. How many kills are these Vultures gonna get? Okay, does not get another one, but that is so much damage. And if you're Noob, how do you actually recover? He's gonna try and expand, I imagine, but I just don't know how well that's actually gonna work out for him. He may have a better chance of just trying to all in, like some type of weird goon zealot speed timing, something like that. It seems like he is just going to go for the natural probe coming down. We do have the shuttle moving across the map, but Lomo, he's already set up. He's got mines, he's got turrets everywhere. This is great defense from him. Loving the comm set also, loving the armory, as I said. And now he can start building a tank. I'd like to see a couple Goliaths mixed in to force this shuttle to actually commit or back off. And if it commits, the Goliaths should be able to take them out. And we do see +1 has already started for Lomo. So he's in a amazing position. And if I was him, I would start going into a timing, whether it's a 5-fact or a 6-fact timing. But he may just go into the 2-1 style. But I think a timing would be amazing here because of how much damage he did. Now here comes some vultures. They do intercept 4 goons. Now it is 6 vultures. It's going to be a decent amount of damage. But the goons can kill a lot of these vultures very quickly. So I'm hoping that he does just back off or at least runs around. Now, because there are goons streaming across the map and we do have these DTs here, it looks like Noob is actually setting up for an attack. And because the vultures are across the map, look at our defense. It's 1 tank, 1 Goliath, 1 tank on the high ground. Vultures need to turn around, but he's not turning around. He's just going to go for it. DT on top of the first tank, DT's on top of the second tank. Goons pick that off. Also, we've got 3 DTs, tons of DPS there, ransacking the main of Lomo. Meanwhile, vultures run by into the main of Noob, and now this is 3 vultures, so this is going to be a lot of damage. But goons are a great counter to Oh, a huge hit! Takes out the last goon, even gets a couple probes, and there's no observer here either. So both of these players are just trading blows with each other. Where's the actual defense from Lomo though? 3 DTs in the main, turret went down, 3 goons are still alive. Goons are going to try and take out this tank. Tank is going to fall. And how do you stop this? We have vultures coming out of the add-on when we need tanks. There's almost no DPS for these goons. SCVs are going to try and save the day. 1 Goliath, 1 vulture remaining. A very important mine hit right there to actually take out the DT. But still, we have 1 Goliath versus 1 DT. Look at the worker count. 17 to 19. SCVs constantly just having to be pulled to make sure they don't die. DT does not get away. So it looks like both players are just going to trade damage. A lot of damage dealt to both sides. Supply lead for Noob. Worker lead for Noob. I actually like Noob's position a little bit more because he's got more production with the 3 gate. Goons are cheaper. We don't have any tanks for Terran. Goons are going to intercept these vultures on the other side of the map too, and every vulture is so important, not necessarily for the vulture DPS, but for those mines. Good scan from Lomo eliminates an observer. That might have actually saved him the game. Is Noob going to go for it? He's going to try and out-micro these spider mines. He is. Really nicely done right there. A second mine going to go down. He might be able to just push through with 6 goons, but this is a little ballsy because once you start having some of the units auto attack onto buildings and stuff like this, it could mess up the AI. So far, so good. 5 mines taken down. Oh, that's a mistake right there. 1 goon going down. Hope he does not die for this turret. He would get punished for that. He's going to try and move up the ramp. I don't think he can get in here. This is 1 tank with a lot of vultures. I think he should back off, but he's still going to go for... Oh, the mine! Almost triggers onto those goons. Please don't go for that turret. Oh, no, he went for the turret! Instantly gets punished. 1 of the goons going down. Still has 5 left, though. And even though he lost a lot of goons there, still like his position, especially the fact that now he has 11 more probes than SCVs. So Noob has been recovering very nicely, but Lomo has also done a good job to flat out not die. I don't know how he didn't die with having 90% of his army across the map. But it looks like both players have stabilized. Noob obviously in a much better position right now. Good pick off with this vulture. Every pick off he can get on these probes is so important because he needs to stall the game out as long as possible. Get his macro going, get more factories up, get his SCVs up. Now, the +1 weapon is done on the armory. I wonder if Lomo is going to go for 2-1 or if he's going to go for a timing, because at this point, I think he should probably recognize that he took more damage than Noob. So if he wants to actually have a good chance at winning this game, he probably needs to go for a timing. We see that the scans have gone off. He saw the Stargate right here. So he knows the Arbiter timing is going to be about think it's like 3 minutes from when this Stargate completes. Around then. But as I was saying, at this point, if Lomo wants to go for a timing, I think he can still win. I think it's his best chance of winning. If he goes for 2-1, it's going to be really hard to split the map because we can see the worker difference. I think Lomo knows of the worker difference, and because of how long it is going to take for him to get matching econ, by then most likely Protoss is going to have this base, maybe one of the mid bases, and it's going to be so hard to spread out your defense covering this entire area. But it is a possibility on Overwatch that Lomo does want to go for split map scenario. Vultures running by into the main again. This is what he needs to get back into the game. Vultures have been heroic all game long. Couple probes going down. 3, 4, 5 going down. 6, 7, 8 going down. All of a sudden the worker count is very even. And these vultures that really should not be dealing any damage have just done work so far. A bit of a misstep from Noob to not seal up this entrance. And actually going for a split map scenario might not be that bad at this point. We do have science facility coming in. He is putting down a third factory. So it does look like he does want to go for 2-1 or at least +2 weapon. Now, I do have to say, I don't see a command center anywhere. So this could just be a flat out +2 all-in 2 base timing. We'll have to wait and see what Lomo actually wants to use this +2 weapon with. But the third base is up for Noob, and with the third base up, he's going to have killer econ. He's going to be able to produce so many more probes, so many more workers, and it's not like he has a lot of ultras now to really deny this base. He is still scrambling around the map with a few, but I really don't expect them to get much damage. I like the goon setup at the natural. No way for vultures to get in now. Vultures at the third base, or goons at the third base, no way for vultures to get in there. And actually, Lomo is surprisingly close in supply, not just in workers, but also in overall army supply, 74 to 89. But the main issue now is that if we're going for a timing, we're on a clock, because the Arbiter has started. It's about 25% of the way done. We do have 5 factories coming up. Still no command center. Actually going into a drop. And I'm always hesitant with the drop, because drops are great, but if you're going to be going for a timing, this could have been a tank. And now that he's loading up tanks into the drops, this now all of a sudden could have been 3 tanks, because more than likely these 3 tanks are going to get taken out with minimal damage to the actual army of Noob. Sure, they're going to get kills under the probe line, but if you're going for a timing, you have to actually kill their army to win a fight. So this is a cute tactic from Lomo. I'm not sure if this is actually the move for what he's setting up to go for, but here it comes. Vulture's going to try and get into the third base. Dragoon's trying to get into position. So far, nothing has really hit just yet. Goon is going to soak up a hit. Tank's got off good hits right there. Takes out a few probes, about 6. But really, or actually 8. So that was a lot of probes lost. But think about how many goons he lost. It was what, like 1? Meanwhile, we traded 2 tanks and 4 vultures, and everything so far looks like we're going for a timing. So I'm kind of a bit worried that we didn't get enough actually done there. Sure, 8 probes are great, but is that enough to make up for the loss of the 2 tanks and the 4 vultures? And I just don't think it is, especially now that we see the Arbiter is out. But here come more vultures trying to intercept these probes. Not going to find really any kills here. But Lomo does have a worker lead now, but unfortunately for him, I still don't see a command center anywhere. Looks like this might be a command center. There is the command center. And Noob is feeling so good that he actually has 8 gates now. He's got good saturation across his bases, or decent saturation across all of his bases. His econ's not bad. He's got a second Arbiter coming out. And if we look back at what Lomo has, he actually has the Vessel coming out. I'm a little surprised that he was able to get that out. But that's going to be great for him because he desperately needs it. Now again, vultures are moving across the map, trying to find any type of angle they can, see if they can get anything done. But our army is really big for Noob. He's at 130 supply to 100 from Lomo. Lomo still has 5 factories. This is pretty good. I think he could afford maybe 1 more. He does have +2 almost done, a major breakpoint for Terran. I like how he has the Vessel out already. But mostly I'm worried every time we send out our vultures, we're losing the vultures. We're not actually saving them. Looked like a drop came in again, but didn't really get much done. 1 vulture unloads. Actually got 4 kills. So that's not bad. But what I'm most concerned about is, since we're using these vultures and they're dying, where's our support for the tanks? If Noob moves up to the top side, just jumps on this army, there's zero support to actually buffer the damage from the goons and the zealots coming in. Also, do we have EMP? No EMP just yet. So if a stasis goes off, he's going to eliminate 3 or 4 tanks for free. And it looks like that's what Noob's doing. I don't see an observer anywhere, but he's just blindly moving up to the top. And unknowing to him, this is exactly what he needs to be doing. Oh no, unfortunately loading up Goliath at the absolute worst time. Here comes that Arbiter. It's extremely low. If he's able to get it, that would be probably game saving, but here comes Noob. No, he's gonna get stasis. So many tanks gonna get taken out of the fight, and I just don't think we have enough. We have like 5 tanks left over, so many Dragoons. No, an unsiege from Lomo at the worst time. Bit of a misusage of the hotkey. And now these Dragoons for sure are going to wipe out this Terran army. They're going to be able to eliminate all the tanks. Zealots getting on top of the tanks too. Those are going to fall. Vultures get wiped out. Even if Lomo's able to survive somehow, 3rd Command Center is going to get taken out. And this is going to be Noob taking our best of 1 unless Lomo can make some type of magic hero hold happen. But I'm just not seeing it. It's not like we have 10 fact or anything. It's only 5 fact. Only 4 tanks left over. Remember, Noob has 8 gate. He can easily out macro the Terran. With these 4 tanks going down, that's going to be all of Lomo's hope really going down too. Command Center's going to fall. More Zealots streaming across the map. Just perfect from Noob so far. Voted Command Center, doesn't matter. It's going to fall. And another big thing was this vessel. Well, I thought it actually died, but it's taken out of the fight too. So how many scans does he actually? He doesn't have any scans. Okay, he has 3 scans on that 1 Command Center, but does he know? Regardless, Noob played this perfectly. Both players trading blows against each other, and he's going to take this game. There's just nothing left from Lomo. GG. But really nicely done from Lomo, going up against one of the best up-and-comers in the Korean scene in Noob. I really did not know what to expect from Lomo because I haven't seen him play in a very long time, but clearly he's very good to go toe-to-toe versus someone like Noob. So I'm really looking forward to see him play in the future if I'm able to get some more replays. But that is going to do it for today, boys. That was the best of 3 between Rush and Action, and then we had the best of 1 between Lomo and Noob. So stay tuned for my next cast. It is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg of Ruin. I think it's Ruin versus... It's going to be one of these 3 Zergs. I think it's going to be Ruin versus Beast. And if you don't know who Ruin was, I think he was a Protoss player on STX Seoul, and Beast was a very good amateur player for a long time. So stay tuned to that, and it's going to be coming very soon.